Imagine just for a moment stepping into a world where magnificent cities once flourished, in vast deserts, deep jungles, or perched atop towering mountain peaks, places that modern reason insists couldn't or shouldn't exist. Who built these extraordinary cities whose architecture goes far beyond imagination, standing in locations that seem impossible to inhabit? What mysterious force drove their people to abandon thriving metropolises, causing entire civilizations to vanish without a trace? In tonight's special episode of Bedtime History, you'll join me on a journey through the gates of time as we explore 38 legendary cities scattered around the globe, places that witnessed humanity's most mysterious rise and fall. We'll visit Petra, the rose-colored city buried beneath desert sands, discover Machu Picchu floating among the clouds, and stand in silent awe at Pompeii, frozen forever in volcanic ash. Every step on this journey will reveal new secrets, raising profound questions about history and the incredible things humanity has achieved and then lost. Why did our greatest civilizations ultimately fade into oblivion? Could what we know about our past be just the tiny tip of a vast ocean of forgotten mysteries? Are you ready? Right now, adjust your volume, find your most comfortable spot, and relax as we embark on a journey that might just change the way you see human history. And if you enjoy mysterious historical tales before bedtime, don't forget to subscribe to Bedtime History so you never miss another special adventure. The first city on tonight's journey is Petra. Hidden among the rugged desert mountains of southern Jordan, this rose-colored city once stood proudly as the most vital trading hub linking ancient empires from east to west. It was a bustling stopover for countless merchant caravans crossing vast deserts, bringing together treasures and knowledge from all corners of the ancient world. The Nabateans, the brilliant architects behind Petra, created a masterpiece that exceeded anything humanity had previously imagined, carving an entire sprawling city directly into the red sandstone cliffs with elaborate and awe-inspiring architecture that seemed to come straight from our wildest dreams. Petra once embodied all the hallmarks of a thriving metropolis: vibrant marketplaces, majestic temples, intricately carved tombs, and an astonishingly advanced water management system. Petra's remarkable water channels, which experts consider superior to any similar structures built by contemporary civilizations, reflect the extraordinary creativity and intelligence of the Nabatean people. Thanks to this ingenious system, the city not only survived but flourished in a harsh desert environment that seemed utterly inhospitable. Historical accounts speak of secret water conduits hidden cleverly within the rocky mountainside, ensuring the residents of Petra easily endured even the harshest desert conditions. But at the very peak of its glory, Petra abruptly faded into historical silence. Merchant caravans gradually stopped arriving, the lively sounds of traders bargaining, laughter echoing through the streets, and festive gatherings slowly gave way to complete silence. According to a few rare historical documents from ancient times, Petra lost its significance as new trade routes emerged, triggering a slow yet unstoppable decline. But was this enough reason for an entire magnificent city to be entirely abandoned? Some theories suggest Petra didn't vanish simply because it lost its strategic importance. Researchers speculate that the city might have been devastated by some mysterious disaster, perhaps a powerful earthquake or an extended drought that forced its inhabitants to seek survival elsewhere. Even more intriguingly, some local legends whisper that Petra's residents intentionally abandoned the city due to a religious ritual or an ancient, now forgotten curse. After falling into obscurity, Petra lay quietly, hidden beneath the sands of time for centuries, until rediscovered by the Western world in 1812, thanks to the Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt. When Burckhardt first laid eyes upon Petra's magnificent stone structures emerging from the dust, he must have felt both awe and amazement at the sheer beauty and mystery surrounding the city. From that moment, the modern world was again awakened to Petra's extraordinary beauty, along with countless unanswered questions. Today, even though Petra is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site and has become an iconic global destination, it continues to harbor secrets yet to be revealed. Monumental structures like Al-Kazne, the treasury, and Ad-Dair, the monastery, along with their captivating carvings, seem to challenge the imagination of every visitor. As sunset illuminates each corner of the city, visitors can't help but feel an intimate whisper from the distant past, from the enigmatic people who created this wonder, then vanished forever. Leaving behind the pink-hued cliffs of Petra, bathed in the fading sunset, we now journey eastward toward a place just as mysterious, a city that has shaken modern archaeologists' confidence in what they thought they knew. This city is Mohenjo-Daro, an ancient metropolis resting silently along the banks of the Indus River in modern-day Pakistan. Built more than 4,500 years ago, Mohenjo-Daro mysteriously vanished from memory for nearly 4 millennia. What makes Mohenjo-Daro such an enduring puzzle is the fact that it doesn't resemble any known ancient civilization before it. Its layout was astonishingly advanced, planned with meticulous precision and a near-impossible level of order, featuring a grid-like street system, sophisticated drainage networks, and public facilities that surpass even some modern cities. From the moment it was uncovered in the early 20th century, Mohenjo-Daro posed endless, unanswered questions. How could a Bronze Age city with virtually no surviving historical records possess urban planning knowledge far beyond its time? Wide, clean avenues and buildings constructed from uniformly sized, kiln-fired bricks clearly suggest the inhabitants followed incredibly strict building and architectural standards. Perhaps the city's most impressive feature was its advanced underground drainage system, engineered with a sophistication that, according to researchers, matches or even surpasses comparable systems in modern urban environments. Strangely enough, no surviving texts explain how the residents of Mohenjo-Daro reached such extraordinary technological achievements. The deeper archaeologists dig into Mohenjo-Daro, the more mysterious it becomes. Among its most controversial discoveries are human remains scattered across the city in oddly contorted positions, as though the residents were suddenly struck down by an unforeseen, catastrophic event. This unsettling find has led to one popular theory, that Mohenjo-Daro was wiped out by a disaster so powerful it instantly destroyed an entire thriving city. Some scholars suggested a massive flood caused by the Indus River, though archaeological evidence remains inconclusive. More daring theories even propose the city might have been the site of an ancient explosion, or some have asked, could it have suffered from an unimaginable ancient weapon lost to time? Experts agree that Mohenjo-Daro represents the pinnacle of knowledge and social organization achieved by the Indus civilization. Discoveries like the Great Bath, a large, intricately designed public structure at the city's heart, suggest a highly advanced society that valued communal life, hygiene, and public health almost to modern standards. Historians can't help but wonder if Mohenjo-Daro reached such remarkable levels of sophistication, why did it abruptly vanish from history, leaving behind no trace beyond buried ruins? Another intriguing aspect of Mohenjo-Daro is its lost script. The city left behind a mysterious writing system inscribed onto stones and artifacts, but despite numerous attempts, no one has ever deciphered it. How could a language sophisticated enough to coordinate the creation of such an advanced metropolis vanish without a trace, as if deliberately erased by its own people? This only deepens the mystery and fuels researchers' imaginations, pushing them to seek deeper answers about the origin and ultimate fate of Mohenjo-Daro. Thousands of years after its mysterious collapse, Mohenjo-Daro still lies silently beneath the dust of time, a profound challenge to modern humanity. It seems like a wonder, not from its own era, but from a time far ahead of itself, compelling scientists to face an unavoidable question. Do we truly understand our own past? Mohenjo-Daro isn't merely an archaeological site. It's evidence that our knowledge of history remains limited, and perhaps the greatest wonders of human civilization are still quietly waiting beneath forgotten layers of earth, awaiting discovery. Leaving Mohenjo-Daro behind, we'll travel upstream along the Indus River, heading northward to another city just as mysterious and remarkable, Harappa, an ancient metropolis that once flourished alongside Mohenjo-Daro and served as a vital center of the Indus Valley civilization. Like Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa was a thriving, populous city over 4,000 years ago, but what truly sets Harappa apart is its astonishingly advanced urban planning, sophisticated social organization, and especially its remarkable construction techniques, so advanced, in fact, that modern researchers still find themselves astonished by the creativity and ingenuity of its ancient inhabitants. Unlike other ancient cities that often grew haphazardly, Harappa has amazed archaeologists with clear evidence of highly systematic and meticulous city planning. There was careful division into distinct zones, including residential areas, public facilities, industrial workshops, and food storage depots. Harappa's neighborhoods were laid out in a precise grid system, with streets crossing each other at exact right angles, a logical, organized layout that would only become widely adopted thousands of years later in modern cities. The residents of Harappa also crafted kiln-fired bricks of astonishingly uniform dimensions, a technical achievement that other civilizations of the same period hadn't even begun to imagine. One of Harappa's most distinctive features was its advanced sanitation and drainage system, considered even more sophisticated than the system found at Mohenjo-Daro. Harappans constructed large underground sewers stretching throughout the city and ingeniously designed them to remain constantly ventilated, ensuring an incredibly clean living environment, something almost unimaginable given the limited construction technology available during the Bronze Age. Archaeologists have also uncovered large reservoirs used for storing fresh water, along with traces of private bathrooms and toilets, clear evidence of remarkably advanced public hygiene awareness and sophisticated urban management by Harappa's residents. Yet perhaps the most intriguing aspect isn't just the city's impressive advancements, but rather the question of why such an advanced city vanished almost completely after just a few centuries of prosperity. Unlike other civilizations that left clear historical records documenting their decline, Harappa's collapse happened quietly and mysteriously, leaving behind virtually no surviving texts to explain the event clearly. Researchers have proposed various theories, perhaps a prolonged drought or catastrophic flooding from the Indus River severely damaged the city's infrastructure, forcing inhabitants to abandon their homeland. However, none of these theories has yet provided a fully convincing answer. Another fascinating aspect of Harappa is its enigmatic writing system. Just like Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa possessed a complex set of symbols that still remain undeciphered. Numerous clay tablets and seals bearing these mysterious symbols have been discovered across the city, but despite decades of intense study, modern scholars have yet to decode the exact meaning behind this ancient language. The complete disappearance of the Harappan script only deepens the mystery surrounding the city, making it even more intriguing to archaeologists and historians. For nearly 4,000 years, Harappa lay sleeping beneath layers of soil, completely erased from humanity's collective memory until its rediscovery in the 19th century. Today, all that remains of Harappa are crumbling walls and faded bricks weathered by the passage of time. But even these modest remnants carry a powerful message. history doesn't always follow a simple, straight line. Sometimes civilizations can rise to heights that seem almost impossible, and then vanish as mysteriously as if they had never existed at all. Leaving behind the unsolved mysteries of Harappa, we now journey westward, toward land known today as Iran, to a place where one of history's most magnificent cities once stood, Persepolis, the proud heart of the mighty Persian Empire. If Harappa was a quiet puzzle of a civilization's silent disappearance, Persepolis is a dramatic tale of sudden, tragic destruction, a city that was once the ultimate symbol of power, luxury, and glory in the ancient world. Founded by the legendary King Darius the Great in 518 BCE, Persepolis was built as a majestic proclamation of the Persian Empire's supreme authority. Under the hands of the most skilled architects and craftsmen, it quickly became a genuine wonder of the ancient world, complete with grand palaces, magnificent temples, massive halls, and intricate stone carvings unlike anything ever created before. The great stairways leading up to the Apadana, the audience hall where the Persian kings greeted ambassadors from their vast empire, were adorned with vivid reliefs depicting Persian history and power. Towering columns carved with images of gods and mythical creatures further transformed Persepolis into a timeless icon of the immortal power of Persian kings, a place that seemed utterly indestructible. Yet history often takes unpredictable turns. After nearly 2 centuries of unparalleled splendor, in 330 BCE, Alexander the Great stormed into Persepolis at the head of his victorious Greek army, marking one of the darkest chapters in the city's history. According to the ancient historian Plutarch, during a drunken celebration one night, Alexander ordered the great palace of Persepolis set ablaze, destroying everything the Persians had painstakingly built. The flames raged uncontrollably for days, reducing magnificent palaces, opulent halls, and priceless libraries to ashes, a sudden, heartbreaking end to a capital city that once stood as the pride of an empire. But the story of Persepolis doesn't end with simple destruction. Many historians still question Alexander's true motive behind the city's fiery downfall. Some suggest that the catastrophic fire wasn't merely an impulsive act influenced by wine, but rather a calculated, cold strategy intended to erase forever the symbol of Persian greatness, sending a powerful message to the ancient world that a new empire had risen. Other ancient texts even hint at a mysterious curse haunting Persepolis, dooming it to a tragic fate as if predetermined by destiny itself. Whatever the true cause, the destruction of Persepolis marked a pivotal turning point in world history, transforming the city from an emblem of unstoppable power into a sobering reminder of how fragile even the greatest civilizations can be. After its destruction, Persepolis lay forgotten for centuries beneath layers of ash and dust, sleeping silently until its rediscovery by Western archaeologists in the 20th century. Today, what remains of Persepolis, crumbling walls, broken columns, and scattered stones, stands quietly as a testament to a buried glory. Yet even in its ruined state, Persepolis holds a magnetic allure, capturing the imagination of all who visit and compelling them to reflect deeply on the destructive power of authority and time. Today, wandering among the scattered ruins of Persepolis, visitors still clearly hear echoes of its glorious past, as if the stones themselves whisper stories of what once unfolded here. The scorched bricks, the weathered reliefs, slowly reveal an undeniable truth. No matter how powerful or magnificent, no civilization can ever fully escape decline and eventual oblivion. Leaving behind the tragic ruins of Persepolis, we now follow the currents of history further west, arriving in the ancient lands nestled between the legendary Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Here we encounter another legendary city, Babylon, the magnificent capital steeped in both reality and myth, a place where the line between historical truth and storytelling has always been blurred. If Persepolis symbolizes the fragility of earthly power, then Babylon is the clearest example of how a city can simultaneously exist vividly in historical records, yet linger mysteriously in the myths and legends passed down through generations. Babylon, the dazzling jewel of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, was once the pinnacle of human civilization. Under the reign of the famed king Nebuchadnezzar II, it became the cultural, economic, and political center of Mesopotamia. During his rule, Babylon boasted architectural achievements beyond anyone's imagination at the time: massive walls that reached toward the sky, splendid palaces, and most famously, the legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon, celebrated as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Yet the actual existence of these famed gardens remains a fiercely debated topic among historians. Ancient Greek writers like Herodotus and Diodorus Siculus described the Hanging Gardens as a lush, elevated paradise built by Nebuchadnezzar to comfort his queen, who longed for the green hills of her distant homeland. These accounts portray the gardens as an extraordinary feat of engineering: raised terraces atop vast palaces, lush with flourishing plants and colorful flowers, irrigated by an ingenious watering system far ahead of its time. But strangely enough, despite their legendary fame, modern archaeologists have yet to find concrete evidence of these gardens, leaving this marvel suspended somewhere between historical fact and myth. Babylon wasn't only symbolic, it was also undeniably powerful, as seen through real, tangible structures like the magnificent Ishtar Gate, built from dazzling blue glazed bricks and decorated vividly with lions, bulls, and mythical dragons, symbols of the empire's strength and grandeur. Beyond the towering gate lay a grand avenue leading straight to Nebuchadnezzar's royal palace, a place where wealth, power, and civilization converged, leaving visiting merchants and ambassadors from around the ancient world in awe. Yet, like every great civilization that rises to unprecedented heights, Babylon couldn't escape the inevitability of decline. Following its golden age, Babylon gradually fell prey to successive invasions by the Persians, Greeks, and later Romans, eventually sinking into ruin and neglect. Even the mighty Euphrates River, which had sustained the city's vibrant life, changed course, leaving the once thriving metropolis to crumble into dusty desert, burying almost every trace of its magnificent past. But the physical disappearance of Babylon hasn't meant its memory faded into oblivion. Instead, over thousands of years, Babylon has haunted human imagination, living on vividly through culture, art, religion, and folklore. It's remembered not only as a lost ancient city, but also as an eternal symbol of humanity's complex contradictions: immense wealth paired with moral decay, overwhelming power balanced by vulnerability, and extraordinary civilization inevitably doomed to decline. Even in the Bible, Babylon emerges as a potent metaphor for humanity's arrogance, a place where humans dared to challenge the divine and suffered severe consequences for their hubris. From the mysterious glazed blue bricks of Babylon, we now travel north, journeying back in time to the dusty lands of present-day Iraq, where the legendary city of Nineveh once stood as the powerful heart of the mighty Assyrian Empire, an empire that dominated much of the ancient Middle East with unmatched pride and strength. If Babylon existed somewhere between myth and reality, Nineveh serves as a clear illustration of grand ambition and the tragic fate that awaits even the greatest civilizations. Nineveh, once described as the largest city in the ancient world, flourished during the 7th century BCE under the legendary kings Sennacherib and Ashurbanipal. The city was a dazzling showcase of Assyrian architectural brilliance, cultural wealth, and intellectual achievements, famous for its magnificent palaces, colossal monuments, and especially the Royal Library of Ashurbanipal, an immense archive containing the wisdom of the entire ancient world. Tens of thousands of clay tablets meticulously recorded subjects ranging from astronomy and medicine to history, mythology, and law, highlighting the astonishing sophistication of Assyrian civilization. Yet it was precisely this wealth and grandeur that made Nineveh an irresistible target for rivals and conquerors. In 612 BCE, the combined armies of Babylon and the Medes laid a fierce siege upon Nineveh, leading to the rapid and dramatic downfall of the city. Once thought impregnable, Nineveh was engulfed in flames, its majestic palaces destroyed, and towering statues of gods toppled at the feet of victorious invaders. Within just a few short days, the pride of Assyria was reduced to rubble, marking the complete collapse of one of the greatest empires of the ancient world. The destruction was so devastating that Nineveh soon faded entirely from memory, gradually turning into little more than a vague legend in historical accounts for many centuries. An empire whose power had awed the ancient world was now only remembered as a cautionary tale about the fragility of greatness. It wasn't until the 19th century that Nineveh began to re-emerge from the sands of history, rediscovered by European archaeologists whose excavations slowly revealed traces of its glorious past. One of the most remarkable discoveries at Nineveh has been the beautifully carved stone reliefs lining the palace walls, vividly depicting scenes of royal hunts, warfare, and everyday life, giving modern scholars valuable insights into the wealth, power, and harsh realities of the Assyrian Empire. But perhaps the most incredible find was the Royal Library of Ashurbanipal, considered an invaluable treasure trove of ancient knowledge. Here, archaeologists uncovered the original clay tablets containing the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of humanity's oldest literary works. Today, Nineveh stands silently as a witness to history, patiently awaiting the footsteps of modern explorers eager to uncover more of its buried secrets. The city continues to tell an unfinished story of an empire that once subdued the ancient world, only to vanish suddenly into the shadows of history, leaving behind haunting and fragile reminders of its once unmatched glory. Now we continue following the footsteps of the Assyrian Empire, heading toward Kalhu, a city better known today as Nimrud, located just a short distance south of Nineveh. If Nineveh echoes the last fading memories of Assyrian might, Kalhu was where the empire's greatness truly reached its peak. It was here that Assyria built its most magnificent palaces and monumental statues, making a bold statement about the unmatched power and splendor of a civilization that once ruled over the vast plains of Mesopotamia. Established by King Ashurnasirpal II in the 9th century BCE, Kalhu quickly became a symbol of Assyrian luxury, strength, and unimaginable wealth. For generations, it served as one of the empire's most important capitals, where Assyrian kings solidified their absolute rule and constructed some of the grandest palaces ever seen in the ancient world. Among these, the most remarkable was undoubtedly the Northwest Palace, an enormous architectural complex featuring vast ceremonial halls, intricately carved corridors, and giant stone sculptures majestically guarding the gates, serving as immortal protectors of royal authority. When archaeologists first uncovered Kalhu in the 19th century, they were astonished by the scale and sophistication of what the Assyrians had left behind. Every wall and stone of the palaces vividly captured scenes of daily life and the glorious military victories of the empire. The exquisite stone reliefs were not only stunning works of art, but also invaluable historical records, giving modern scholars powerful insights into the ruthless conquests and absolute authority of the Assyrian kings. Among the most striking discoveries were the Lamassu statues, giant mythical creatures with the body of a bull or lion, human heads, and grand wings, standing proudly at palace entrances as if defying the passage of time itself. Despite once being one of the grandest capitals in the ancient world, Kalhu could not escape the inevitable fate of all great cities, slowly fading into history's shadow. As Assyria's political heart shifted north to Nineveh, Kalhu gradually lost its importance, and the majestic palaces fell silent, slowly disappearing beneath layers of sand and dust. Walls that had once symbolized Assyrian pride crumbled into ruins, buried deep under centuries of neglect. But Kalhu's story didn't simply end in quiet obscurity. In 2015, tragedy struck again when war and conflict caused extremists to deliberately destroy much of what remained of these ancient palaces, permanently erasing priceless pieces of history. This heartbreaking event once again showed the fragility of history in the face of time and human violence. Today, standing amid Kalhu's surviving fragments, it's impossible not to feel profound sadness and loss. Statues that once proudly guarded the city now lie shattered, relief carvings cracked and eroded, silently narrating the tale of an empire that once made the ancient world tremble, but ultimately shared the inevitable fate of all civilizations, returning to dust. From the scattered ruins of Kalhu, swept away by the relentless passage of time, we now leave behind what was once the heartland of Assyrian power and journey westward, to the ancient lands of Syria, where we find Ebla, a city that lay forgotten for thousands of years. If Kalhu astonished with its grand palaces and spectacular relief carvings, Ebla fascinates in an entirely different way. Not through lavish monuments, but because it preserved an extraordinary treasure of ancient human knowledge meticulously recorded on tens of thousands of clay tablets. Nestled among the fertile plains of northern Syria, Ebla once thrived as a major trade and cultural hub from as far back as the 3rd millennium BCE. For centuries, it controlled crucial trade routes connecting Mesopotamia with the Mediterranean, serving as an essential bridge linking ancient civilizations. But what makes Ebla uniquely captivating to modern scholars is the vast library uncovered during the 1970s, containing more than 20,000 clay tablets inscribed with ancient writing, preserving invaluable memories from a nearly forgotten chapter of human history. When archaeologists first uncovered these clay tablets, carefully protected beneath the earth for over 4,000 years, the modern world was truly amazed. The Ebla tablets weren't merely business records, they were rich sources documenting political systems, religious practices, cultural life, and diplomatic relations between ancient societies. Some tablets even provided detailed lists of cities and kingdoms completely lost to history, forcing researchers to rewrite entire sections of ancient Near Eastern history. Yet, like many great ancient cities before it, Ebla could not escape a dramatic and violent fate. Around 2300 BCE, the city suddenly and catastrophically collapsed. According to some theories, Ebla was destroyed during an invasion by Sargon the Great of Akkad, the powerful king determined to unify all of Mesopotamia under his rule. Archaeological evidence clearly shows the city was consumed by a massive fire, burying its entire clay library beneath layers of rubble and ash, sealed quietly underground for millennia. Ironically, it was this sudden destruction that preserved the Ebla tablets almost perfectly, allowing them to quietly wait beneath the surface, ready to tell the unfinished story of a once prosperous metropolis. Yet despite decades of discovery and research, most of these tablets remain largely mysterious and undeciphered. The ancient Eblate language continues to challenge linguists and archaeologists, holding on to its secrets tightly as scholars strive patiently to bring the forgotten stories of Ebla back into the light from the darkness of the distant past. From the clay tablets quietly sleeping beneath Ebla's soil, we now travel along ancient pathways heading southeast across Syria, toward the vast desert landscape that once embraced one of the most magnificent and legendary cities of the ancient world, Palmyra. If Ebla preserved humanity's memory on thousands of clay tablets, Palmyra was a vibrant crossroads, a bustling meeting place of great empires whose interactions left behind lasting traces of civilization amid the scorching desert sands. Palmyra once thrived as a lush oasis, a strategic stopping point for caravans traveling between the Mediterranean and Mesopotamia, a place where goods and cultures from east and west mingled, merged, and spread throughout the ancient world. This unique location transformed Palmyra from a modest desert oasis into a prosperous metropolis filled with bustling markets, majestic temples, and grand avenues glowing brightly at sunrise and sunset, surrounded by a harsh and unforgiving desert landscape. At its height, between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD, Palmyra grew unimaginably wealthy, earning its title as the Bride of the Desert. Here, power and wealth concentrated in the hands of ambitious merchants and rulers. Under the reign of Queen Zenobia, Palmyra not only thrived commercially but also boldly pursued political ambitions. Zenobia led the city in a daring revolt against the Roman Empire, establishing a short-lived but proud kingdom stretching across much of the eastern Mediterranean. Yet it was this pride that ultimately led to Palmyra's tragic downfall. After prolonged conflict with Rome, the city finally fell to the powerful forces of Emperor Aurelian in 273 AD. Rome's revenge was brutal and relentless. Much of Palmyra was destroyed, and Queen Zenobia was captured, marking a painful end to her desert kingdom's dream. From that moment, Palmyra slowly lost its strategic importance, gradually buried by desert sands, sinking deeper into obscurity for centuries. When Western explorers rediscovered Palmyra in the 18th century, the world once again marveled at the spectacular beauty still evident in its remaining monuments. The Grand Temple of Bel, the majestic colonnaded avenue, and elaborate tombs blending Greek elegance with Eastern grandeur. Yet these monuments carried unmistakable scars of destruction, a stark reminder that no matter how glorious, every empire ultimately succumbs to history's merciless force. Today, in the vast empty desert, Palmyra's ruins still rise hauntingly, whispering stories of past glory and tragedy at what was once a vibrant crossroads of civilization. Standing before giant columns now stripped bare, temples buried beneath drifting sands, visitors can't help but reflect deeply on the rise and fall of empires, the fragility of human achievements, and humanity's uncertain fate within the endless currents of time. From Palmyra's dusty roads, where ancient empires once crossed paths before fading into history, we now journey westward, tracing the shores of the Mediterranean Sea toward another city that once sparkled with equal brilliance, Ugarit, the birthplace of one of humanity's greatest legacies, the first alphabet. If Palmyra was a crossroads where civilizations met on desert trade routes, Ugarit was the place where ideas and knowledge took root, flourished, and spread along maritime pathways, opening doors to an entirely new chapter in human civilization. The city of Ugarit, located in what is today northern Syria, was a thriving and powerful port city in the 2nd millennium BCE. Thanks to its strategic coastal location, Ugarit quickly emerged as a key trading hub connecting major ancient civilizations such as Egypt, the Hittite Empire, and early Greece. But what truly distinguished Ugarit from other trading centers of its time was a revolutionary invention, the Ugaritic alphabet, one of the first writing systems to simplify language into a limited set of symbols, laying the foundation for nearly all subsequent alphabets. When archaeologists first rediscovered Ugarit in the early 20th century, the tiny clay tablets covered in mysterious symbols found beneath its soil completely transformed our modern understanding of written language's history. Unlike earlier complex hieroglyphic systems, Ugarit's alphabet consisted of around 30 simple characters, each representing a distinct sound, a seemingly modest innovation today, but a groundbreaking revolution at the time. Because of its simplicity and effectiveness, writing was no longer an exclusive privilege of society's elite. Instead, literacy began to spread across all social classes, dramatically accelerating cultural, commercial, and intellectual growth. Yet, like many great ancient cities, Ugarit's prosperity did not last forever. Around 1200 BCE, the city was abruptly destroyed in the mysterious historical event known as the Late Bronze Age collapse. Archaeological evidence shows Ugarit was consumed by intense fires. Palaces, temples, and libraries were all burned to the ground and buried under layers of ash. To this day, the exact cause of Ugarit's destruction remains fiercely debated, though one prominent theory points to the invasion by the enigmatic Sea Peoples, mysterious warriors who swept in from the Mediterranean Sea, causing widespread destruction and the collapse of numerous civilizations in the region. Ironically, it may have been this sudden destruction that preserved Ugarit's precious clay tablets perfectly underground, waiting thousands of years to tell the world the story of an invention that profoundly changed the course of human history. Today, among its scattered ruins, the city of Ugarit quietly reminds us of how fragile great achievements can be against the relentless passage of time, but also how resilient knowledge is, always finding ways to survive beyond destruction. Standing before those small clay tablets at Ugarit, we see more than just a forgotten ancient city. We see an extraordinary legacy inherited by humanity, a legacy surpassing any palace or monument. For it was this simple alphabet, born on the shores of the Mediterranean in the humble city of Ugarit, that forever opened the door for human civilization to embark on a new path, one of knowledge, enlightenment, and endless possibilities. And now we continue northward, leaving Syria behind and entering the region of eastern Turkey, where another legendary city lies quietly submerged in forgotten memories. Ani, the city of 1,001 churches, once among the most radiant cultural and religious centers of the medieval world, now lying silently amid empty fields along a remote border. Ani earned its nickname, the City of 1,001 Churches, not just because of the astonishing number of religious buildings it once had, but also due to the extraordinary beauty and sacred meaning embedded in every stone. In the 10th and 11th centuries, Ani served as the glorious capital of the medieval Armenian kingdom, drawing the brightest scholars, artists, and architects of its time. During those golden years, Ani wasn't just a bustling hub of trade and culture, it was a proud emblem of a prosperous kingdom's strength and ambition. Situated strategically on the Armenian plateau, overlooking the Akurian River Valley, Ani connected east and west, helping it to thrive immensely, but also making it vulnerable to countless invasions and power struggles. Over centuries, Ani passed through Byzantine, Seljuk, Persian, and finally Mongol hands. Each conquest left scars upon the city, slowly eroding what was once a shining symbol of wealth and power. The devastating Mongol invasion of the 13th century dealt Ani a near-fatal blow, leaving the city almost entirely destroyed. Churches, palaces, and public buildings that once dazzled with their beauty were reduced to smouldering ruins, plunging Ani into desolation. Soon after, residents abandoned their once glorious home, leaving behind a deserted city overtaken by weeds and swept by harsh plateau winds. From that point onward, Ani gradually slipped into historical oblivion, becoming a ghost city on a distant borderland, forgotten by both time and humanity. Today, stepping into Ani feels like entering another world, where silence blankets every broken stone. Major churches like Ani Cathedral or the Church of St. Gregory, though reduced to crumbling walls, still radiate a unique architectural beauty, testaments to a civilization that once reached astonishing heights in artistic creativity and engineering. Faded frescoes and empty arches silently bear witness to a city whose name once echoed throughout history, yet now endures a quiet, melancholy fate, lost deep in the shadows of forgotten time. Leaving behind the silent walls of Ani, we now venture deeper into the heart of Anatolia, seeking out another ancient city hidden among towering rocky mountains, Hattusa, the majestic capital of the Hittite Empire, one of the most powerful yet enigmatic civilizations of the ancient world. If Ani was famed as the city of 1,001 churches, echoing with prayers, then Hattusa was where political authority, military might, and religious devotion all converged, silently nestled in a stone valley, holding tight to secrets of a civilization that history nearly forgot. Hattusa reached its peak during the 2nd millennium BCE, when the Hittite Empire dominated much of Asia Minor, competing fiercely with ancient Egypt and Babylon for control of the entire Near East. This city wasn't just the political heart of the Hittites, it was also a sacred religious center where significant rituals and historic treaties took place, including humanity's first recorded peace treaty between the Hittites and Egypt during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II. As you step into Hattusa today, you can't help but be awestruck by the remains of enormous structures made from massive stone blocks, each weighing several tons, stacked atop one another to create walls stretching for miles, as if defiantly challenging both invaders and time itself. Magnificent gateways, particularly the Lion Gate and the King's Gate, once symbols of absolute power, still stand proudly like silent guardians, quietly witnessing how a city that once stood at the heart of power faded completely into oblivion. Yet the disappearance of Hattusa remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Around 1200 BCE, roughly at the same time that many other nearby civilizations mysteriously collapsed, Hattusa was suddenly and inexplicably abandoned. There are no clear historical records to explain why its residents decided to leave behind the city they'd built with such effort and pride. Some theories suggest a violent invasion was responsible, while others propose internal conflict or severe climate change that made life there unsustainable. After its abandonment, Hattusa fell into a long sleep lasting thousands of years, slowly buried beneath earth and overgrown by grass and brush. It wasn't until the early 20th century that archaeologists rediscovered and began excavating the city, gradually piecing together the memories of a civilization that had once rivaled ancient Egypt itself. One of the most astonishing discoveries was the Royal Library of Hattusa, containing thousands of clay tablets detailing laws, diplomacy, and mythology, offering fresh, remarkable insights into a civilization that had been entirely forgotten. Today, standing amidst the silent ruins of Hattusa, nestled among Anatolia's rugged mountains, visitors can distinctly sense the quiet dignity radiating from each stone and every crumbling wall. The ancient gates remain wide open, yet no one walks through. Streets that once bustled with life are now completely silent, as though the city itself still waits patiently for someone to unravel the mystery behind its sudden disappearance. Leaving Hattusa behind, we venture even deeper into the distant past, arriving at an extraordinary city in the fertile lands of Anatolia, Çatalhöyük, humanity's very first metropolis, built long before the rise of mighty empires or powerful kings. If Hattusa symbolized the political power of a great ancient civilization, Çatalhöyük stands as a vivid testament to the astonishing beginnings of human society, when our earliest communities first chose to come together and create a densely populated, complex city far beyond the imagination of prehistoric times. Established more than 9,000 years ago, Çatalhöyük is regarded as one of the oldest known cities in the world, with a population that may have exceeded 10,000 at its peak, a remarkable number for an era when humans still largely lived nomadic lives or in small scattered groups. Unlike any other ancient city, Çatalhöyük had no grand palaces or massive walls. Instead, it featured a unique, intricate maze of houses tightly packed together and stacked upon one another. Built entirely from clay and mud bricks, these homes had no streets or entrances at ground level. Residents entered their homes by climbing onto the rooftops and descending through ladders, an unusual yet remarkably effective urban design for its time. The walls inside Çatalhöyük's homes were adorned with vivid murals depicting scenes of everyday life, wild animal hunts, and mysterious religious rituals, providing fascinating insights into the rich spiritual life of its prehistoric inhabitants. Archaeologists have uncovered numerous intriguing artifacts, from statues of plump goddess figures symbolizing fertility and abundance to animal skulls used in mysterious ceremonies. These finds indicate that Çatalhöyük wasn't just a place to live, it was a vibrant cultural and spiritual center during the Neolithic era. Yet the greatest mystery surrounding Çatalhöyük is why this densely populated, sophisticated community abruptly disappeared around 5700 BCE. There's no clear evidence of natural disaster or invasion, only the undeniable reality that the city was gradually abandoned, slowly fading into the dust of history. Various theories suggest resource depletion, disease outbreaks, or perhaps social changes prompted residents to seek new settlements, but none have completely solved the puzzle of Çatalhöyük's sudden disappearance. The ancient city lay silently hidden beneath the Anatolian plateau for thousands of years, until its excavation in the mid-20th century stunned the modern world with evidence of its remarkable sophistication and creativity, surpassing anything we had previously imagined possible in prehistoric times. Discoveries at Çatalhöyük have forced us to reconsider our understanding of human civilization, showing clearly that our social development hasn't always followed a straightforward path. Instead, there have existed remarkable communities full of innovation and complexity that mysteriously vanished without a trace. Today, all that remains of Çatalhöyük are quiet clay ruins scattered across Anatolia's plateau. But its story still speaks powerfully, raising profound questions about the origins of human society and the choices our ancestors made in their struggle to survive and thrive. Leaving behind the mysterious traces of Çatalhöyük, the prehistoric metropolis silently hidden in Anatolia's vast plains, we continue westward to the shores of the deep blue Aegean Sea, arriving at a city whose fame once echoed throughout the ancient world, Ephesus, city of the goddess Artemis and timeless philosophical thought. If Çatalhöyük showed us humanity's humble yet extraordinary beginnings, then Ephesus stands as a vivid symbol of civilization's brilliant maturity, a crossroads where faith, wisdom, and artistry intertwined, shaping the heart of Greco-Roman culture. Ephesus was once among the most prosperous cities in ancient history, a vibrant hub strategically placed along trade routes connecting east and west, where goods, ideas, and religions mingled before spreading far and wide. At its peak, Ephesus was second only to Rome in size within the Roman Empire, renowned for magnificent structures like the Grand Library of Celsus, elegant marble-paved avenues, and above all, the legendary Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, dedicated to the goddess of hunting and fertility and among the greatest religious centers of antiquity. The Temple of Artemis in Ephesus wasn't just a spectacular architectural marvel that amazed travelers from around the world. It was also a powerful religious and cultural focal point, attracting thousands of pilgrims who journeyed great distances to worship, offer sacrifices, and exchange ideas. Besides its religious significance, Ephesus was also a vibrant intellectual hub, home to influential philosophers such as Heraclitus, who famously stated, "No man ever steps in the same river twice," capturing the essence of constant change in the world around us. Yet despite its glorious prominence, Ephesus could not escape the inevitable cycle of decline. Over time, the Cayster River silted up, gradually filling in the city's vital harbour. Trade declined sharply, and the city's status as a cultural and religious centre slowly faded away. Wars, natural disasters, and disease outbreaks took their toll, steadily diminishing its once bright glory. By the 7th century, after repeated invasions and devastating earthquakes, Ephesus slipped into abandonment, silently reclaimed by nature. Today, standing amidst the ruins of Ephesus, from the magnificent facade of the Library of Celsus to the marble-paved streets once trodden by great philosophers, one cannot help but feel a profound sense of loss for the beauty and greatness that once existed here. The Temple of Artemis, that once famous wonder of the ancient world, now reduced to a few lonely columns rising silently from an empty field, quietly tells the story of a glorious past that dazzled the entire world, yet ultimately succumbed to the relentless force of time. From the golden twilight illuminating the solitary columns of Ephesus, we now journey eastward, arriving in an ancient land nestled among lush green hills in northern Pakistan. Taxila, a city once renowned as the birthplace of knowledge, home to one of humanity's oldest universities. If Ephesus symbolized the maturity of Greco-Roman philosophical thought, then Taxila was the beacon of intellectual enlightenment in the East, attracting philosophers, scientists, and students from distant lands. Founded around the 6th century BCE, Taxila was among the ancient world's most esteemed centers of learning, drawing eager minds not only from South Asia, but also from Persia, Greece, Central Asia, and beyond. The city was celebrated for its distinguished schools and research institutes, where disciplines like philosophy, mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and military strategy were taught by the finest scholars of their time. It was here that great thinkers such as Chanakya, author of the Arthashastra, one of history's foundational texts on politics and governance, walked the path of wisdom, becoming the legendary mentor to the Emperor Chandragupta Maurya. But Taxila was more than just a gathering place for scholars. It was also a unique crossroads of ancient civilizations. Located along critical trade routes linking India with Persia, Greece, and China, the city flourished economically and culturally, becoming a vibrant hub of diverse beliefs, ideas, and traditions. The conquests of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE further enriched Taxila's distinctive identity, blending Greek artistic traditions with local culture to create the magnificent Gandhara civilization, renowned for its exquisite Greek-inspired Buddhist sculptures. Yet, like so many splendid cities throughout history, Taxila's wealth and strategic location ultimately made it a prime target for invasion and war. In the 5th century CE, the fierce White Hun invasions from Central Asia virtually obliterated this great intellectual center, reducing its renowned schools, libraries, and academies to ash and rubble. Gradually, Taxila vanished from memory, buried beneath layers of earth and forgotten by time. Today, the scattered ruins of Taxila lie quietly among green hills, where archaeologists have uncovered remarkable treasures, lecture halls, student dormitories, and iconic Gandhara-style Buddha statues. These discoveries vividly highlight the city's golden past, a time when Taxila was a shining light of civilization and wisdom, illuminating a vast region with the enduring glow of human knowledge. From the ancient lecture halls of Taxila, where wisdom once blossomed and spread throughout South Asia, we now journey southward into the sacred heartland of central India, arriving at the peaceful, ancient Buddhist city of Sanchi. If Taxila symbolizes the radiant growth of knowledge and timeless philosophical thought, then Sanchi stands as a living testament to humanity's search for inner peace and spiritual enlightenment, a place where art and spirituality harmoniously blend, creating one of Buddhism's most treasured legacies. The city of Sanchi was founded in the 3rd century BCE under the patronage of the great emperor Ashoka, who transformed Buddhism from a small local religion into one that spread far across Asia. Here at Sanchi, Ashoka constructed the majestic Great Stupa, a remarkable architectural monument built to enshrine and honor the sacred relics of the Buddha, as well as to share Buddhism's profound messages of peace and compassion with all humankind. In the centuries that followed, Sanchi flourished as a major spiritual center, drawing thousands of monks, devotees, and pilgrims who traveled from distant lands, seeking enlightenment and inner tranquility. What truly sets Sanchi apart is not just its deep religious significance, but also its exquisitely detailed architecture and artwork, reflecting the incredible creativity of ancient Indian culture. The intricately carved stone gateways, or torana, surrounding the Great Stupa, beautifully depict scenes from the Buddha's life and teachings, as well as vivid portrayals of ancient Indian society, nature, and daily life. These stone artworks are widely celebrated as masterpieces of ancient sculpture, making the Great Stupa at Sanchi an enduring symbol of harmony between art, spirituality, and human existence. Yet despite its past prominence as a cultural and spiritual beacon, even Sanchi could not escape being gradually forgotten over the ages. With Buddhism's decline in India, especially after the 12th century, Sanchi slowly fell into ruin, eventually becoming entirely overgrown by vegetation and hidden by layers of dust. For centuries, this once famous Buddhist city vanished completely from human memory, quietly sleeping among the trees and wilderness, waiting patiently to be rediscovered. It wasn't until the 19th century that British archaeologists began excavating and restoring Sanchi, slowly awakening this ancient city from its long slumber. The rediscovered monuments revealed to the modern world the sophistication and far-reaching influence of an elegant Buddhist civilization that once flourished across Asia. Today, the Great Stupa and its surrounding structures stand quietly resilient, watching the centuries pass by, holding within them memories of a forgotten golden era. Standing before the serene Buddha statues or passing through the artistically carved stone gateways at Sanchi, visitors today cannot help but deeply sense a message echoing from a distant past, that the true greatness of a civilization lies not only in its power or wealth, but also in the spiritual peace and enlightenment it once offered to humanity. Sanchi, the ancient Buddhist city once hidden beneath time's dust, has now reawakened, sharing with the modern world a timeless story about the lasting power of compassion, peace, and the light of spiritual wisdom within history's endless flow. Leaving behind the serene and tranquil Buddhist monuments of Sanchi, we now journey further south into India's peninsula, arriving at Vijayanagara, a mighty capital city that once sparkled brilliantly like a precious gem, only to shatter suddenly on a fateful day. If Sanchi symbolized spiritual peace and tranquility, Vijayanagara stood proudly as a testament to power, wealth, and boundless ambition, eventually destroyed by the very conflicts and desires that defined the ancient world. Founded in the 14th century on the banks of the Tungabhadra River, Vijayanagara swiftly grew into one of South India's richest and most influential empires, strategically positioned at the crossroads of vital trade routes linking east and west. At its peak, the city was home to wealthy merchants, gifted artists, and fierce warriors, creating a vibrant, thriving, and multifaceted society. Its magnificent palaces, majestic temples, and bustling streets became the pride of a vast kingdom, renowned throughout Asia and admired by the entire ancient world. The highlight of Vijayanagara was undoubtedly the spectacular temple complex of Hampi, the backdrop for extravagant festivals and impressive royal ceremonies. Massive stone walls adorned with exquisite carvings, expansive halls filled with continuous music and dancing, all vividly reflected the remarkable prosperity and artistic achievements of the Vijayanagara people. The city was more than just a political and economic center. It was also a vibrant hub of culture and faith, embodying the deepest spiritual values of Indian civilization. Yet Vijayanagara's extraordinary wealth and power ultimately set the stage for its tragic downfall. In 1565, a coalition of Deccan sultanates decided to attack Vijayanagara, sparking one of the most devastating battles in Indian history. At Talikota, the empire's forces suffered a crushing defeat. Within a single day, the splendid capital was brutally ransacked, engulfed in flames, and left utterly devastated. Overnight, the proud city that had symbolized an entire civilization's ambition was reduced to ruins, never to fully recover. Following this catastrophic event, the once glorious city quickly faded from memory, gradually reclaimed by nature and buried beneath layers of dust and wild vegetation. Vijayanagara slept quietly for centuries, until its rediscovery in the 19th century slowly revealed glimpses of its once glorious yet painful past. Today, walking through its towering stone gateways or standing among fallen pillars, visitors can't help but feel deeply moved by memories of a city that was once rich, powerful, and admired, but vanished forever in the wake of one tragic day. Leaving behind the serene tranquility echoing among the ancient stupas of Sanchi, we journey eastward, deep into the heartland of what is now Thailand, arriving at an ancient city that once shone brilliantly like a precious jewel, but today rests in profound silence. Sukhothai, the first capital of the Kingdom of Siam, an immortal symbol of a golden era of Southeast Asian art and culture. Founded in the 13th century, Sukhothai quickly rose to become the region's most prominent center of power and culture, a place where art, architecture, and Buddhism harmoniously merged to create a civilization marked by elegance and refinement. Under the reign of King Ramkhamhaeng, the city saw the creation of the first Thai alphabet, opening a new chapter in the kingdom's cultural and educational history. It was here, in Sukhothai, that Buddhism's profound values spread widely, nurturing a society deeply rooted in peace, compassion, and wisdom. What truly set Sukhothai apart were its exquisitely crafted temples and Buddha statues, fashioned by the skilled hands of the era's most talented artisans. Majestic structures like Wat Mahathat, with its impressive stone columns and serene Buddha statues, or the great Buddha of Wat Sichum, famed for its mysterious yet compassionate gaze, transformed Sukhothai into one of the most important spiritual hubs in Southeast Asia. More than just a political capital, the city embodied enlightenment, wisdom, and kindness, fostering a way of life marked by simplicity, grace, and spiritual depth. Yet time was not gentle with Sukhothai. After more than 2 centuries of dazzling glory, the kingdom gradually declined, its power shifting toward Ayutthaya. Sukhothai's influence waned, and the city slowly fell into silence. Its once magnificent temples became overgrown by nature, abandoned and forgotten, their revered Buddha statues now sitting quietly beneath fading twilight, covered in dust and memories. Visiting Sukhothai today, standing among the crumbling ruins and Buddha statues, sitting serenely beneath a golden sunset, one can still faintly hear whispers of a distant, brilliant era. A civilization that once thrived but now exists only as fragile memories within endless silence. Sukhothai, Thailand's glorious heritage, remains quietly telling us a timeless story of impermanence, reminding us that even the most radiant civilizations eventually yield to the gentle erasure of time. Leaving Sukhothai behind, we now journey westward, crossing vast forests and oceans, until we arrive at the legendary Nile Delta in Egypt. Here, deep beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea, lies a city once renowned across the ancient world, yet mysteriously swallowed by the ocean. Thonis Heraklion, a bustling harbour city, now transformed into a silent ghost beneath the waves. Thonis Heraklion was once Egypt's main gateway, welcoming ships laden with gold, ivory, spices and precious goods from distant lands. It was also a sacred place where Egyptian kings performed rituals honoring Osiris, the god of the afterlife, hoping for divine protection over their kingdom. Ancient historians like Herodotus described Thonis Heraklion as a spectacular city filled with grand temples, towering statues, and lively marketplaces crowded with merchants from around the world. Yet the city's strange fate caused it to vanish entirely from human memory. Around the 8th century CE, a series of catastrophic earthquakes and rising sea levels submerged the entire city beneath the Mediterranean, causing Thonis Heraklion to disappear without a trace. For more than 1,000 years afterward, the legendary city survived only in myths and faded historical accounts, until underwater archaeologists finally rediscovered it at the end of the 20th century. When the first ruins of Thonis Heraklion were uncovered from the seabed, the world was astonished by their incredible beauty and remarkable preservation beneath the waves. Giant granite statues of gods, imposing stone columns still standing tall, gleaming gold coins that seemed freshly minted, all vividly recalling a golden era now forever silent beneath crystal-clear waters. The city became not merely an archaeological site, but a powerful testament to nature's unstoppable destructive force, and a reminder of humanity's vulnerability before the unpredictable power of the ocean. Thonis Heraklion, the city swallowed by the sea, now remains an enchanting mystery, submerged in silent beauty, deep beneath the ocean's surface, quietly waiting to continue telling the unfinished story of civilizations whose fates once shaped our world. From the deep, silent darkness beneath the sea, where Thonis Heraklion lies quietly dreaming for thousands of years, we now follow the legendary Nile southward into Egypt, arriving at a city once celebrated throughout the ancient world, Luxor, the sacred capital inheriting the eternal glory of ancient Thebes, where Egypt's most powerful pharaohs built magnificent monuments meant to last forever. For centuries, Luxor, or rather Thebes, was the heart of Egypt's political, religious, and cultural life. Under renowned pharaohs such as Ramses II and Tutankhamun, the city reached its most spectacular peak, famed for enormous temples like Karnak and Luxor, as well as the Valley of the Kings, the eternal resting place for Egypt's ancient rulers. These incredible structures were more than symbols of political and religious authority. They were testaments to the highest achievements of ancient architecture and artistic craftsmanship. Karnak Temple in Luxor stands as one of the largest and most breathtaking constructions ever made by human hands, with towering columns intricately carved to depict stories of gods and pharaohs. Sacred rituals held beneath Egypt's blazing sun emphasize the eternal power and divine authority of the gods and rulers who reigned over this land. Yet Luxor, like every grand capital city in history, could not escape the ruthless passage of time. Wars, natural disasters, and Egypt's gradual decline stripped the city of its prominence, slowly consigning it to oblivion. Golden palaces and grand temples crumbled into ruin, gradually buried by drifting desert sands, becoming forgotten relics lying silently beneath the earth. Today, as we walk among Luxor's fallen columns and crumbling stonework, we seem to hear echoes from the distant past, the chanting of sacred prayers, the majestic drums of ceremonies, and the hurried footsteps of pilgrims who once journeyed here from across the ancient world. But all that remains now are toppled columns, massive statues worn down by wind and sand, and walls deeply cracked by age. The sacred capital city now lies lonely and quiet, silently narrating a story of once unmatched power and glory, yet ultimately revealing the fragile impermanence of even the greatest civilizations when faced with the relentless wheel of time. Leaving behind the solemn ruins and desert sands of Luxor, where power and divinity once merged only to fade into time's embrace, we continue our journey across the Mediterranean Sea, traveling westward toward beautiful Italy. Here, fate forever froze a city in the midst of everyday life. Pompeii, a Roman city abruptly silenced on a single, fateful day, leaving behind some of the most vivid and haunting images ever captured in human history. On one ordinary morning in 79 AD, while the residents of Pompeii went about their vibrant daily routines, Mount Vesuvius suddenly awoke, erupting violently and burying the city beneath scorching ash and molten rock. In just a matter of hours, Pompeii, a city that symbolized the luxury, prosperity, and sophistication of the Roman Empire, vanished entirely from the face of the earth. Busy streets, lavish homes, bustling theaters, and crowded public squares were all swiftly buried beneath a thick layer of volcanic ash, creating a massive stone coffin that preserved a snapshot of that tragic day. For over 1,000 years, Pompeii lay forgotten, quietly hidden beneath the earth, until archaeologists rediscovered it in the 18th century. As they began uncovering its ruins, the modern world was astonished by the incredible preservation offered by the volcanic ash. Homes remained perfectly intact, with detailed wall paintings still vibrant, shops and restaurants still containing their furnishings, even bread loaves still sitting untouched in oven, as if time itself had frozen at that precise, fateful moment. Yet perhaps most haunting of all are the images of people caught in their final moments, immortalized in plaster casts that vividly capture expressions of fear and helplessness against nature's unstoppable fury. Pompeii isn't just an archaeological site, it's a powerful reminder of life's fragility and the brutal, unexpected twists of fate. Today, stepping into Pompeii means entering a world forever halted nearly 2,000 years ago. Its stone-paved streets, luxurious villas, and quiet squares now stand in silent testimony, patiently retelling the story of that tragic day, a day that forever changed the destiny of an entire city. Now leaving Pompeii behind, frozen by fate beneath thick volcanic ash, we journey deeper into the legendary lands of Greece, where tales of heroes, warriors, and powerful gods still echo through time. Here, atop a lush, green hill in the Peloponnese Peninsula, lies Mycenae, the city of courageous warriors and legendary kings, which once stood proudly as an impregnable fortress before slowly fading into the mysterious mists of history. Mycenae was not just any ancient city. It was the heart of the renowned Mycenaean civilization, the birthplace of some of Greece's greatest myths, including the proud King Agamemnon, who famously led the Greek armies in the legendary Trojan War. From the moment it was built, the city was renowned for its massive stone walls, constructed from blocks so enormous that later generations believed only the mythical Cyclopes, giants with incredible strength, could have placed them there. At the height of its power, Mycenae served not only as a defensive fortress, but also as a thriving center of political and cultural influence, ruled by kings from splendidly decorated palaces filled with remarkable craftsmanship. The city was incredibly wealthy, as evidenced by treasures of gold, silver, and dazzling jewelry discovered within ancient tombs, clear proof of its influence across the entire Mediterranean region at that time. Yet even unmatched wealth and power could not prevent Mycenae's mysterious downfall. Around 1200 BCE, the city abruptly declined, suddenly abandoned within a short period, without any clear historical explanation. Theories of earthquakes, famine, invasions, and internal conflicts have all been proposed, but no single explanation has been fully convincing enough to solve the puzzle of Mycenae's enigmatic disappearance. Today, stepping through the famous Lion Gate, the timeless symbol of ancient Mycenae feels like entering directly into the heroic pages of Greek mythology. The imposing stone walls, mysterious beehive tombs, and crumbling ruins of royal palaces stand silently, preserving echoes of heroes who once stood proudly atop their world, but ultimately slipped quietly into eternal obscurity. Saying farewell to the legendary heroes of Mycenae, we head southward across Greece, toward the deep blue waters of the Aegean Sea, where gentle waves conceal one of history's greatest secrets, Akrotiri, a city often called the Atlantis of these waters, a thriving, brilliant metropolis that vanished in a single tragic night. Located on what is now the island of Santorini, Akrotiri was a bustling, prosperous trading hub around 1600 BCE. The city was famous not only for the wealth brought by merchant ships filled with luxury goods, but also for its refined culture, showcased through vibrant frescoes that decorated homes with astonishingly lifelike scenes of daily life, as if time had stood still. Yet fate chose an unexpectedly cruel end for Akrotiri. One day, the island's volcano suddenly awoke, erupting violently, burying the city beneath layers of volcanic ash and rock. In mere moments, Akrotiri's glowing civilization was extinguished, buried under thick meters of volcanic debris, transforming this flourishing city into a true Atlantis of the Aegean Sea. What makes Akrotiri's fate even more mysterious is that, despite the catastrophic eruption, it appears the city had been carefully evacuated beforehand. No human remains have ever been discovered, no signs of chaos found, only the haunting silence of a city deserted long before disaster struck. The unanswered question of how Akrotiri's residents knew to leave so calmly remains one of history's most intriguing mysteries. Today, Akrotiri rests quietly beneath layers of earth and volcanic ash, but each excavation reveals new glimpses of its advanced civilization. Homes and vibrant frescoes remain remarkably preserved. Pottery and everyday items lie intact, patiently awaiting their owner's return from a long journey. Akrotiri, the Atlantis of the Aegean, is now an eternal, silent legacy, guarding secrets modern humanity has yet to fully uncover. Beneath thick layers of ash, it quietly tells the story of a civilization that once shone brightly, but then vanished suddenly, leaving only echoes of its lost splendor. From the gentle twilight of the Aegean Sea, where Akrotiri still rests beneath mysterious volcanic ash, we journey across the European continent, heading north toward distant Scotland. The icy North Sea churns relentlessly. Here, on the remote Orkney Islands, lies Skara Brae, a Neolithic village that quietly slept beneath windswept sands for 5,000 years, hidden from the modern world, until it was accidentally rediscovered. One winter's day in 1850, after a powerful storm swept away layers of sand from the shoreline, Skara Brae suddenly emerged. Astonishingly well-preserved stone homes built thousands of years ago appeared as though time had simply overlooked this place. Unlike grand cities glittering with civilization, Skara Brae was humble and modest, yet surprisingly complete, from stone fireplaces and beds to small cupboards still containing everyday items, as if their inhabitants had left just yesterday. What makes Skara Brae truly remarkable isn't just its great age, but the unique way it was constructed underground, designed cleverly by ancient residents to withstand the harsh climate of the North Sea. The homes were interconnected by small tunnels, creating a warm, labyrinth-like community in the midst of this rugged, wind-swept landscape. Yet despite their ingenuity and comfort, the village was mysteriously abandoned. No one knows exactly what happened to the people of Skara Brae, whether they faced a sudden natural disaster, a fierce snowstorm, or simply a quiet shift in their way of life that prompted them to leave everything behind. Today, stepping onto Skara Brae's narrow pathways and standing amidst its cold stone homes, visitors feel transported into another era where absolute silence reigns. The distant crashing of the North Sea waves against rocky shores whispers gently from the past, reminding us that real people once lived, loved, and thrived in this remote place before quietly disappearing into history without leaving a single clear trace behind. From the cold, biting winds still whispering through Skara Brae's ancient stone houses, we now leave the distant northern lands behind, heading toward the warm Mediterranean shores, where the crashing waves once mingled with the fierce clash of weapons between two of the ancient world's greatest civilizations, Carthage and Rome. Here, along the fertile North African coast in present-day Tunisia, stood Carthage, a proud, wealthy capital city, cruelly chosen by fate as the victim of one of history's most brutal acts of vengeance. Founded by the Phoenicians in the 9th century BCE, Carthage swiftly grew from a humble port city into a mighty empire dominating the Mediterranean. Its fleet sailed far and wide, trading across the seas and bringing immense wealth back home. Yet this expanding wealth and power inevitably led to direct confrontation with Rome, igniting the famous Punic Wars, over a century of bitter, relentless conflict. The Third Punic War, beginning in 149 BCE, proved the tragic final chapter for Carthage. For 3 relentless years, the city endured siege, desperately resisting Rome's overwhelming military might. But when Carthage finally fell in 146 BCE, Rome sought not merely victory, but total annihilation. The city was utterly destroyed, homes and temples burned, stone buildings dismantled piece by piece, and according to legend, salt was spread over the ground to ensure nothing would ever grow there again. Today, the site of once glorious Carthage offers only scattered ruins, a bitter reminder of Rome's relentless vengeance. Foundations of palaces, fragments of statues, and rows of broken columns now rest silently amid wild grasslands, carrying the heavy silence of a city that once commanded respect across the Mediterranean. Carthage, Rome's greatest rival, now survives only in memories buried beneath the North African earth, forever symbolizing the devastation of war and the cruel fate awaiting empires bold enough to challenge destiny. In silence, these ruins continue to narrate a story filled with sorrow yet fierce pride, where history's brightest glory and darkest shadows intertwine, reminding humanity of the true price paid for power and relentless hatred. From the bitter fragments of memory left behind by Carthage, where power and vengeance once burned an entire city to the ground, we continue eastward along the Mediterranean coast, arriving at Libya, where vast desert sands meet the eternal waves of a sapphire blue sea. Here lies Leptis Magna, a magnificent capital city that once proudly rose from the desert, gleaming like a jewel beneath North Africa's blazing sun, before slowly fading into the harsh embrace of time and sand. Leptis Magna flourished as a prosperous trading hub under Roman rule, particularly during the reign of Emperor Septimius Severus, a proud native of this city. In the 2nd century AD, with the emperor's generous support, Leptis Magna was quickly rebuilt and transformed into one of the most luxurious and grandiose cities in the Mediterranean. Lavish public buildings, theatres, amphitheatres, and impressive public baths sprang up, showcasing the immense wealth of an empire at the height of its power. But wealth and grandeur never last forever. As the Roman Empire weakened, Leptis Magna gradually lost its prominence. The collapse of trade routes, frequent raids by desert tribes, and the drying up of nearby rivers slowly sealed its fate. Merciless desert sands crept forward, steadily consuming the city's houses and monuments until the entire city lay buried beneath the shifting dunes. For centuries, Leptis Magna survived only as a faint legend, silently hidden under scorching sand, until archaeologists finally began excavations in the 20th century. The rediscovered ruins revealed an astonishingly complete city with wide avenues, majestic triumphal arches, and a beautifully preserved theatre with rows of pristine white stone seats, as if patiently awaiting the return of an audience. Today, Leptis Magna stands once again beneath the sun's gaze, quietly sharing the story of its once glorious past, a city whose splendor briefly conquered the harsh desert, but ultimately vanished into the relentless sands of time. Leaving behind the endless sands of Leptis Magna, where sea and desert combined forces to consume a once magnificent city, we now journey across vast oceans deep into central Mexico, where volcanic plateaus conceal one of the ancient world's greatest mysteries, Teotihuacan. Known as the City of Massive Pyramids, it still holds unanswered questions about the true creators of the enigmatic Pyramid of the Sun. Teotihuacan was once the largest political, cultural, and religious center in the pre-Columbian Americas, thriving between the 1st and 7th centuries AD. The city was remarkable not only for its impeccable urban planning, with perfectly straight avenues and expansive plazas, but also for the awe-inspiring grandeur and mystery of its pyramids, most notably the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest ancient structures ever built. But what truly makes Teotihuacan extraordinary and deeply mysterious isn't just the impressive scale or perfection of these pyramids, it's the simple fact that we still don't know who built them. When the Aztecs arrived centuries after the city had been mysteriously abandoned, they named it Teotihuacan, meaning the place where gods were born, precisely because they had no knowledge of its true origins. Even today, archaeologists debate endlessly about which unknown civilization constructed these monuments, and why such a prosperous city was suddenly abandoned without explanation. The Pyramid of the Sun, rising nearly 230 feet high, witnessed countless sacred ceremonies and perhaps even mysterious sacrifices, yet its exact purpose and meaning remain uncertain. Underground tunnels, hidden chambers, and traces of strange rituals beneath the pyramid only deepen the mystery surrounding Teotihuacan, raising even more unanswered questions about the ancient people who once inhabited this remarkable place. Walking along the Avenue of the Dead, standing in the shadow of towering, silent pyramids under the Mexican sun, one can't help but feel drawn into a profound, ancient mystery. Teotihuacan is more than just a historic site. It's a vast puzzle humanity has yet to fully solve, forever whispering the secrets of a vanished civilization that left behind no clues to explain its disappearance. Leaving behind the towering pyramids of Teotihuacan, where history still conceals its mysterious builders, we continue our journey southward, venturing deep into the lush, tropical forests of southern Mexico. Here, hidden within the dense jungles of Chiapas, lies Palenque, the enigmatic city of the Maya, nestled quietly amidst echoes of wildlife, a place where thousands of hieroglyphic carvings still hold secrets that humankind has yet to fully decode. Palenque was one of the most magnificent cities ever constructed by the Maya, reaching its peak around the 7th century under the legendary ruler King Pakal the Great. Unlike many ancient cities set in dry, harsh landscapes, Palenque emerges with enchanting beauty, its intricate architecture blending harmoniously with lush greenery. Towering temples, majestic palaces, and stunning stepped pyramids vividly embody the artistic mastery and religious beliefs of the Maya civilization, which flourished here for centuries. However, what makes Palenque truly captivating to researchers are the countless hieroglyphic texts carved on stone tablets, pillars, and palace walls, detailing enigmatic stories of kings, gods, and significant historical events of the Maya. Among these discoveries, the tomb of King Pakal, hidden beneath the temple of the inscriptions pyramid, shocked the world upon its discovery with an exquisitely carved stone sarcophagus. Yet even today, many inscriptions etched upon it remain filled with mysteries yet to be completely unraveled. Like other Maya cities, Palenque was abruptly abandoned in the 9th century for reasons still unclear, allowing the jungle's relentless growth to reclaim its structures completely. The city lay quietly beneath vines and trees, forgotten and unseen for centuries, until European explorers rediscovered it in the 18th century. Ever since, each deciphered glyph has shed just a bit more light onto Palenque's mysterious past, though many secrets still remain cloaked in history's thick fog. Today Palenque, the city hidden deep within the jungle, still waits quietly, patiently, holding its secrets. With each new discovery, it invites us once again to travel back through time, exploring a remarkable past filled with endless wonders yet to be revealed. From the mysterious hieroglyphs still concealed deep within Palenque's jungle, we leave behind the lush forests of Chiapas, journeying further south toward the emerald lands of Honduras. Here, beneath dense tropical canopies, lies Copan, another remarkable wonder of the Maya civilization, which once shone brilliantly before quietly surrendering to the relentless power of nature, engulfed and hidden by giant tree roots, eventually buried beneath the earth. Copan was once one of the Maya civilization's most important cultural hubs, renowned for its exquisite stone carvings, statues of deities, and intricately sculpted monuments, among the finest examples ever created in the ancient world. This was where Maya kings conducted sacred rituals, a place that witnessed centuries of artistic and intellectual flourishing. The meticulously carved stone steps and intricately sculpted pillars at the city's central plaza tell proud stories of powerful rulers who governed the region with authority and devotion. But like many other Maya cities, Copan was abruptly abandoned under mysterious circumstances around the 9th century. Human voices faded away, leaving the city to be reclaimed slowly but relentlessly by nature. Gigantic tree roots gradually crept into every crevice, wrapping tightly around the elegant architecture, transforming the city into an enigmatic labyrinth swallowed by the dense tropical forest. When European explorers first stumbled upon Copan in the 19th century, they were astonished by this surreal landscape, a place where ancient structures appeared to be consumed by the wilderness. Massive tree trunks and sprawling roots gripped tightly onto stone statues and stairways, seemingly intent on hiding the city from curious human eyes. Only through tremendous effort were these ancient stones and sculptures gradually freed from the thick vegetation that had held them captive for centuries. Today, walking among the breathtaking ruins of Copan, one can still clearly witness the silent struggle between humanity and nature. ancient trees still stand watch, patiently awaiting the chance to reclaim the city once more. From the roots wrapping tightly around Copan's forgotten memories, we continue through the dense jungle, following a hidden trail northward into Guatemala, where Tikal, the greatest city ever built by the Maya, lies hidden among thick rainforest canopies, rising above an endless sea of green as if reaching toward the heavens. Tikal is not merely an ancient city, it's a masterpiece of architecture and spirituality in the heart of the jungle. Established in the 4th century, it quickly became the Maya civilization's most important center of power and belief, where immense pyramids, temples, and grand palaces stood shoulder to shoulder, soaring higher than the tallest treetops. Especially striking are Tikal's massive pyramids like Temple 1 and Temple 2, towering majestically above the forest, as if delivering eternal messages from humanity to the gods above. Yet, despite its incredible prosperity and unmatched power, Tikal shared the same fate as other Maya cities, mysteriously abandoned around the 10th century. Slowly but surely, the jungle reclaimed its territory, wrapping vines and branches around every stone, every monumental pyramid, until the city was swallowed whole beneath the dense rainforest canopy. Only in the mid-19th century, when explorers accidentally rediscovered the site, did the world once again marvel at Tikal's raw, majestic beauty. Towering pyramids and ancient temples, now shrouded by vegetation, still rise dramatically, as if struggling to break free from nature's grip. Distant howls of monkeys and vibrant bird calls deep within the jungle only add to the city's profound sense of mystery and allure. Today, Tikal, the magnificent temple city nestled within Guatemala's dense jungles, remains a beautiful and poignant testament to a civilization that reached incredible heights before quietly falling into nature's silent embrace, leaving behind an enigmatic legacy still awaiting discovery and understanding. From the towering pyramid rising above the dense jungles of Tikal, we leave behind the mysteries of Central America, journeying southward across rugged mountains and deep valleys, arriving at the dry, wind-swept Andes highlands of Bolivia. Here, amid vast, lonely spaces, lies Tiwanaku, an ancient city that emerges like a giant question mark, standing as compelling evidence of a civilization that existed long before human history was clearly recorded. Tiwanaku appeared on the harsh Andean plateau around 2,000 years ago, quickly becoming the region's most powerful center of authority and spiritual belief. The city is remarkable for its mysterious and intricate architecture, so precisely constructed that archaeologists still puzzle over how ancient people managed such feats. Massive stone blocks weighing tens of tons were placed with astonishing accuracy, expertly carved to create monumental structures like the Gate of the Sun, enigmatic statues, and massive walls whose purposes remain hidden in mystery. Yet the story of Tiwanaku is even more puzzling. Who built this city, and why did they vanish without a trace around the year 1000 AD? No one knows for sure. A once thriving and powerful city seemingly fell into eternal slumber almost overnight, leaving behind only these immense structures standing quietly amid the icy winds of the Andes. Today, walking among the gigantic stone slabs and unusual statues of Tiwanaku, one can still clearly feel a strange pull from this distant past. Intricately carved stones, mysterious symbols that remain undeciphered, all seem to whisper stories of a world that existed even before the rise of the Inca civilization, a world we still don't fully comprehend. Tiwanaku, a silent testament to a lost civilization of the Andean highlands, waits quietly, wrapped in mystery, patiently awaiting someone who might one day answer the lingering questions about a civilization that flourished brightly but then faded inexplicably into obscurity, leaving behind only questions suspended between the endless sky and the dry earth, where time and history continue their endless game. From the silent mysteries resting among Tiwanaku's giant stones on the high Andean plateau, we journey onward along the spine of these majestic mountains, venturing deeper into Peru's mist-covered peaks. Here, hidden amidst thick layers of fog, Machu Picchu, the legendary Inca city, appears like a dream suspended between heaven and earth, where the secrets of the Inca civilization remain nearly intact, tucked within steep mountain cliffs. Constructed in the 15th century, Machu Picchu is a breathtaking masterpiece of Inca architecture and engineering. Situated at an elevation of over 7,800 feet, the city astonishes the world not only because of its challenging location but also due to its perfect harmony with nature. Elegant stone houses, lush green terraces, and mysterious temple structures were all expertly carved into precipitous slopes, creating a city that seems to float almost magically among the clouds. Yet even Machu Picchu couldn't escape the destiny shared by so many legendary cities. Following the collapse of the Inca Empire at the hands of Spanish invaders, the city was abandoned and gradually faded into complete obscurity for centuries. Dense forests and thick clouds slowly reclaimed Machu Picchu, keeping it hidden in nature's secret embrace until explorer Hiram Bingham rediscovered it in 1911. Today, as you walk along Machu Picchu's winding paths and stone terraces, you can still feel a powerful sense of wonder and mystery. Chilly breezes whisper through narrow mountain gaps, and thin layers of mist gently drape the ancient towers, seemingly determined to hide the deepest secrets of the Inca civilization. Machu Picchu, the city floating in the clouds, remains forever an architectural masterpiece and an eternal symbol of humanity's aspiration to rise up and become one with nature. From the legendary city of Machu Picchu floating amidst the mist, we travel down ancient trails winding through the mountains and forests of Peru, moving toward an even more secluded, more ancient place, where mysterious Andean rituals unfolded thousands of years ago. This is Chavin de Huantar, a center of enigmatic ceremonies quietly hidden within a remote valley where time itself seems to have paused long ago. Established over 3,000 years ago, Chavin de Huantar was once among the most significant cultural and spiritual centers in the ancient Andes. Unlike grander cities, its allure lies not in sheer scale, but in its intricate network of hidden tunnels, subterranean ceremonial chambers, and peculiar stone statues depicting mythical creatures representing powerful deities worshipped by ancient peoples. The exact nature of the rituals performed at Chavin remains shrouded in mystery, but scholars believe that deep within these dark labyrinths and narrow ceremonial rooms, ancient priests conducted sacred rites designed to communicate with the supernatural world. Central to these rituals was the enigmatic Lanzon statue, a sacred deity carved in stone, concealed amid the intricate maze of passageways. All this contributes to making Chavin one of archaeology's most fascinating and haunting locations. Eventually, Chavin de Huantar too succumbed to the quiet fate of abandonment. As its ceremonial influence faded, the city gradually fell silent, tunnels filled with earth, overgrown with vegetation. It wasn't until the 20th century that archaeological excavations slowly unveiled the remarkable mysteries once held within, offering deeper insight into the ancient rituals and spiritual life that unfolded in this extraordinary place. From the mysterious tunnels hidden deep beneath Chavin de Huantar, we leave the majestic Andes Mountains behind, journeying across the vast ocean toward distant waters of the Pacific. Here, among countless small, isolated islands rising from crystal blue seas, lies the remarkable island of Pohnpei in Micronesia, home to an extraordinary ancient wonder known as Nan Madol. Often called the Venice of the Pacific, this astonishing city was boldly constructed entirely on coral reefs in the heart of the sea. Nan Madol is unlike any other city ever built by humans. Established around the 8th century, it consists of hundreds of man-made islands crafted from enormous basalt stones, linked together by an intricate network of canals. Some of these massive stones weigh dozens of tons, and exactly how ancient builders transported and meticulously arranged them remains an enduring mystery, forming a complex architectural masterpiece rising dramatically above the water. At the height of its power, Nan Madol served as the region's most significant religious and political hub, inhabited by the Sodelur dynasty, rulers believed to possess sacred and supernatural powers. Temples, palaces, and tombs on these small islands reflected the immense wealth and mysterious authority of those who once governed here. Yet destiny decreed that Nan Madol would eventually fade into oblivion. By around the 16th century, for reasons still unknown, the city was abandoned, rapidly becoming a forbidden place surrounded by haunting myths and eerie legends whispered by locals. Gradually, relentless waves, ocean winds, and time itself eroded the stone walls, transforming this once magnificent city into strange ruins scattered across the vast ocean. Nan Madol, the ancient Venice atop coral reefs, remains an unforgettable testament to humanity's enduring ambition, as well as a profound reminder of the many deep secrets still concealed by the vast, mysterious Pacific Ocean. Saying goodbye to the mysterious basalt stones rising above Nan Madol's turquoise waters, we journey westward, arriving at the tropical island of Sri Lanka. Here, deep within dense forests, an enormous rock fortress juts dramatically into the sky. Sigiriya, the impenetrable citadel that once served as the secret refuge of an ambitious king, now stands as a solitary shadow amid majestic nature. Built in the 5th century by King Kasyapa, Sigiriya stands out not only for its incredible natural defenses, but also for the extraordinary boldness and ambition of the human spirit. To escape his enemy's revenge, King Kasyapa transformed a massive rock formation over 600 feet tall into an impregnable fortress. At this dizzying height, he constructed a magnificent palace, breathtaking hanging gardens, artificial ponds, and stunning frescoes, creating a lavish, isolated world of absolute power and splendor. Yet, despite building such a formidable stronghold, Sigiriya could not spare Kasyapa from his tragic fate. Following the king's demise, the rock fortress was swiftly abandoned, overtaken by creeping vines and thick vegetation. The stone stairways that once ascended triumphantly to the summit soon disappeared beneath layers of greenery, turning this once thriving royal haven into a haunting ruin lost within the tropical forest. Today, as you ascend Sigiriya's ancient stone steps, echoes of its glorious past still gently whisper in the breeze. Intriguing murals depicting mysterious celestial maidens, giant lion paws carved at the base, and the wind-swept summit bearing traces of a vanished royal palace, all remain quietly in place, witnesses to the tale of a king who dreamed of eternal glory, only to vanish into oblivion, overtaken by the unyielding force of time. Sigiriya, the lonely rock fortress in Sri Lanka's lush jungle, remains a powerful symbol of humanity's endless ambition set against nature's irresistible strength, leaving behind beautiful yet poignant remnants embraced forever by the tropical forest. From the mysterious rock fortress of Sigiriya, hidden deep within Sri Lanka's lush tropical canopy, we now journey across the ocean to distant southern Africa. Here, amidst vast grasslands and solitary hills, lies one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Great Zimbabwe, a stone empire that once dominated an immense region, but today stands silent, its ancient walls glowing in the golden hues of sunset. Built around the 11th century, Great Zimbabwe wasn't renowned for its gold or diamonds, but rather for the astonishing technique used to construct it. Millions of meticulously placed stones fitted together without mortar or any bonding agent. The gracefully curved walls encircling the royal palace and sacred enclosures, some rising over 30 feet tall, were masterfully assembled, reflecting the immense wealth and power of a kingdom that once controlled extensive trade networks across the region. Yet this magnificent city abruptly fell into decline in the 15th century, leaving no clear explanation behind. Theories of resource depletion, climate change, or internal strife remain open mysteries, unsolved to this day. Gradually, Great Zimbabwe was abandoned, its mighty stone walls left alone to quietly crumble, forgotten for centuries beneath the African sky. From the mysterious, imposing stone walls of Great Zimbabwe, we now cross the vast Atlantic Ocean, heading deep into North America, where the steep cliffs of Colorado harbor an enigma that defies all explanation. Mesa Verde, the cliffside city whose ancient inhabitants chose life in perilous heights, only to vanish without a trace, leaving behind a mystery no one has yet solved. Constructed by ancestral Puebloans around the 12th century, the stone dwellings of Mesa Verde were built directly into sheer cliff faces, dozens of meters above the ground. This ancient city appears suspended between earth and sky, with hundreds of small houses clustered together in an astonishing and daring fashion. Steep staircases and narrow tunnels interconnected the homes, forming a unique and mysterious living network unlike anything else in human history. Yet Mesa Verde's greatest mystery isn't just its dramatic location, but the sudden disappearance of its inhabitants. By the end of the 13th century, the entire city was inexplicably abandoned, leaving no clear evidence behind. Was it a prolonged drought, devastating famine, or internal conflict that drove its people away from their cliffside homes? This unanswered question still hangs silently in the air. Today, standing beneath Mesa Verde's towering cliffs, one can't help but feel awe mixed with reverence. Those small stone dwellings, silently clinging to the heights, quietly speak of an ancient community that willingly embraced nature's greatest challenges, only to disappear into an enduring, mysterious silence. And finally, the last city on tonight's journey is Troy, a city long believed to exist only within the epic poetry of myth, yet astonishingly resurrected from beneath the earth as a silent witness to humanity's distant past. For centuries, the legendary Trojan War, described vividly in Homer's Iliad, was thought to be mere poetic fiction, until the 19th century archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann began excavations that changed history forever. He brought this supposedly mythical city back to life, uncovering beneath the soil mighty stone walls, imposing gates, and undeniable traces of a conflict that once shook the ancient Mediterranean. Yet the truth of Troy turned out to be far more complex than anyone imagined. Rather than a single city, Troy revealed itself as multiple settlements stacked upon one another, each layer whispering its own unique tale of prosperity, conflict, and decline. Was there really an epic war fought over the beautiful Helen, or was this simply a metaphor for centuries of struggle over wealth and power? Walking among Troy's ancient ruins today, running your hands over the stone walls, still quietly baking beneath the Turkish sun, you can sense vividly the thin line between myth and reality. The broken stones, toppled columns, all still carry the breath of a city forever balanced between legend and history. From Troy, this legendary city now emerged from epic verse into reality, we slowly look back across all the magnificent cities that rose and fell into historical darkness. Each city has a story. Every stone, every crumbling wall holds memories locked away by time. From Petra, hidden in desert sands, Pompeii frozen under volcanic ash, Machu Picchu suspended among clouds, to the deep mysteries of Teotihuacan. Each one reminds us of humanity's fragile existence before the unstoppable march of time. Perhaps what we truly know about these ancient cities is only a small fraction, merely the tip of an immense hidden iceberg. Countless unanswered mysteries, unreadable symbols, reasons never fully understood, all still lie waiting beneath layers of dust, patiently awaiting those with the patience and passion to continue this endless search. As we pass through these silent ruins, listening closely to the quiet echoes of cities once glorious, we realize that even after disappearance, each city leaves behind a question that eternally compels humanity. What truly remains when an entire civilization is lost forever? In the quiet of passing centuries, amid the fading traces left behind, let us keep searching. For perhaps it is in this endless journey that we come to better understand ourselves, our past, and the future waiting patiently ahead.